Who's your commander?
Good luck.
Equip.
Move to combat.
Resolves.
Now, before you attack
Does
me,
anyone have an answer?
well played.
Good game.
Hello friends, DJ here with the Jumbo Commander YouTube channel. I have another top 8 list. Today I want to talk about Planeswalkers. You know, Planeswalkers aren't usually very good in Commander. I mean, they're good cards and all, but when you play them, they're subject to being attacked by not just one opponent, but 3 opponents most of the time. There are some Planeswalkers out there that are phenomenal, and more great Planeswalkers are being printed every year. Let's get into it. But the first thing I want to do is throw out an honorable mention to all of the Planeswalkers that can be your commander, like Dreadhorde, Scrap Savant, and the other mono-colored commanders from the original Commander set, or Lord Windgrace from a more recent Planeswalker Commander set, and Jace Vryn's Prodigy out of Magic Origins and the other Flipwalkers. Thanks, guys, for being walkers in our command zone. All right, let's get into it with number 8, and number 8 is an old one, the oldest one on this list, and that is Sorin Markov. 3 black for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. You can +2 to drain someone, 2 damage to target creature or player, gain 2 life. You can -3, target opponent's life total becomes 10. This is 6 mana, deal 30 damage in many situations. Sorin is crazy, and it's very broken in Commander, and people hate Sorin, but you cannot deny his power. So Sorin Markov coming in here, bringing people close to death with almost no interaction whatsoever. Good job, Sorin. Doesn't even die with the -3. Amazing. Moving on to number 7, we have a familiar formula. It's like, okay, you +1 the Planeswalker, you get a dude, you minus the Planeswalker, you kill something. Great, this is in every single color. Although, is it? Because Ugin the Ineffable is colorless, so this card can go in any deck. 6 mana for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker, colorless spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. So this really could be crazy in a colorless deck, but it can just go well in any deck, honestly, because the +1 creates a dude, but it also draws you a card. That's the thing. Dudes and cards together on a plus mechanic, yes, that's why I love Ugin the Ineffable. And just the ability to go in any deck. You can also kill something. That's great too. This is really the exact thing that you want. You know, I kind of thought about having Karn, Scion of Urza on this list because I was thinking, you know what, it's the card draw that like red and white might need, but honestly, I just think that they can get up to Ugin casting cost and then use this for the repeatable card draw that you need. It's really just an amazing new Planeswalker. But let's stick with the Ugin theme. Ugin the Spirit Dragon is my number 6. Ugin the Spirit Dragon is basically a board wipe on a Planeswalker. And one thing that you might have noticed so far is that each one of the walkers that I mentioned really accomplish their main goal through their first activation. This Ugin does that because it's basically a board wipe on a Planeswalker. Ugin the Spirit Dragon is 8 mana for a 7 loyalty Planeswalker, +2 to do 3 damage to target creature or player, -X, exile each permanent with converted mana cost X or less that's 1 or more colors. This is the thing that we're focusing on. And there's a -10 where you draw 7 cards, gain 7 life, put 7 permanents onto the battlefield, whatever. But we really care about this -X because it's a selective board wipe, and it only hits colored things. So that's pretty good, especially if you're running a deck with a lot of colorless elements to it. And so if you can selectively board wipe and really keep a lot of your board established, well then you have a cheaper Ingarrick's Wake. You have one that's more flexible, one that you can play at different points in the games, one that's left over afterwards to continue ticking up again. There's also the added interaction of this little old boy, Painter's Servant. Oh, look at that little cute scarecrow. Recently unbanned, it's 2 mana for a 1/3 artifact creature scarecrow. As Painter's Servant enters the battlefield, choose a color. All cards that aren't in play, spells, permanents, are the chosen color in addition to their other colors. That means everything is, I don't know, say green. Everything is green. Lands are green, your Ugin's green, your Painter's Servant is green, everything is green. And then, when you tick down Ugin, It actually exiles each permanent with converted mana cost X or less that's 1 or more colors. That includes everyone's lands. Your lands are gone too. Every creature, probably less than 6 CMC, exiled out of the world. Painter's Servant is gone too. And you're left with a decimated board, except you happen to have an Ugin the Spirit Dragon still sitting there, still saying, hey, how's it going, empty board, empty world? I'm just going to keep ticking up and dealing 3 damage all over the place, and then eventually I'm going to ultimate and put you so far ahead. This is a demoralizing way to win, and I'm happy to be sharing it with you right now. It's wonderful. Going on to our next Planeswalker, number 5, Liliana, Dreadhorde General. 4 black for a 6 loyalty Planeswalker. Whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. I like this static ability on Planeswalkers. It's very good. And this static ability is particularly good in black. We've seen it a few other places. Grim Haruspex does an okay job, but Liliana really lets you take advantage of those tokens, particularly the tokens she creates. You can +1 to create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. -4, each player sacrifices 2 creatures. -9, each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type and sacrifices the rest. Okay, so being able to edict the whole table for 2 creatures is a lot, especially if your deck is built to absorb those losses. Imagine you play a 6-drop, you get rid of essentially 6 creatures all across your opponent's boards, you have to sacrifice 2 creatures, but then you draw 2 cards. It's very, very good. And if you just need to tick this up and create more zombies, eventually the ultimate is just backbreaking. And as you block and protect Liliana and use your creatures, you're just getting more and more card advantage. I have been really impressed with how she plays. Before we go into the top 4, I want to thank Cool Stuff Inc. for sponsoring this video. Thank you, Cool Stuff Inc. If you want to buy some awesome Planeswalkers from them, make sure to put in Jumbo 5 for 5% off your order. All right, number 4 is well known to us all. It's Oko, Thief of Crowns. Oko is everywhere, and it belongs in Commander if its price tag wasn't so high. 1 green-blue for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. +2, create a food token. +1, target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3. -5, which is very reachable, exchange control of target artifact or creature you control and target creature an opponent controls with power 3 or less. So this is not the type of Planeswalker that just ends the game with its ultimate. It's more about entering the battlefield and actually accomplishing something immediately. Just turning something into an elk is very good in our format. In fact, we've really enjoyed that flexibility. Cards like Beast Within have been a staple, even cards like Imprisoned in the Moon. The reason why we want to be able to turn things into elks is because it'll trap commanders on the battlefield. It's even better than that Beast Within I mentioned. It's also great because it can interact with artifacts and creatures. I mean, I really wish it could hit like planeswalkers or enchantments, but I mean, it's already very, very good, so we don't need to push it that much. One thing that's great is an elk is not threatening in our format. So if no one has an answer for Oko, you just keep ticking up and go elk, elk, elk. You're taking out soul rings and turning them into elks, and no one can interact with you whatsoever. It's just a phenomenal card. Some people might say Oko doesn't measure up against cards like Beast Within because it's at sorcery speed, but this could slot into cards like Muldrotha the Gravetide, where you can play permanents from your graveyard. So if you're playing your removal spell from your graveyard, it could be particularly powerful. Yeah, trapping commanders on the battlefield, irrelevant elks, the frustration of being able to create food after food after food, and exchanging control of stupid food tokens with what could be powerful utility creatures. This card is just gross, and I want to put it in more commander decks. Number 3, we have Narset, Parter of Veils. 1 blue for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. Narset only has a -2. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So Narset is really an example of these Planeswalkers that achieve what they want immediately. she only really does one thing, and that's cycles into some more action. And if she stays on the battlefield, great. You get to sort of impulse again for those non-creature, non-land spells that you're looking for in these types of decks, and it combos phenomenally with cards like Windfall or any other draw 7, because it says each opponent can't draw more than one card each turn. And if you force your opponents to draw 7 cards, then they're only drawing 1. You can break the symmetrical effect of many of these cards. And so Narset is very sinister. She immediately replaces herself. She threatens to get another card for your troubles, and then all along the way really shuts down your opponent's ability to truly interact with her, because so many decks are built around card draw in Commander. Right, number 2 is Nissa Vital Force. 3 green for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. Nissa's +1 says untap target land you control until your next turn. It becomes a 5/5 elemental creature token with haste. It's still a land. -3 says return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So we have a +1 that protects Nissa. That's pretty good. We have a -3 that gets card advantage. That's solid. But one of the great things about Nissa Vital Force is that her ultimate is well within reach. It's only a -6 to gain an emblem that says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. That emblem is insane. An ultimated Nissa almost wins the game in Commander, because every single land drop becomes more and more card advantage. It's incredibly strong. And at 5 mana, this is the kind of engine I want. I mean, we've seen the power of Tatyova Benthic Druid decks, where you have a lot of lands coming into the battlefield, but really Tatyova just gets killed over and over again. An emblem is so difficult to interact with, and so if you can achieve that emblem, you've pretty much locked up your card advantage for the rest of the game. It's crazy how much it spirals out of the control. And what is my number 1 planeswalker on this top 8 list? I think it's great that it's not Jace the Mind Sculptor, it's not Karn Liberated or Liliana the Veil, any of these famous planeswalkers that have really scourged Modern or found their place in older formats. We have our own planeswalkers, and the top planeswalker, in my mind, is Dack Fayden. Dack Fayden is 1 blue-red for a 3 loyalty planeswalker, +1 target player draws 2 cards, then discards 2 cards. -2. Oh, the wonderful -2 of gain control of target artifact. Oh, that's the one that we focus on, but let's read the -6. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell that targets 1 or more permanents, you gain control of those permanents. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever ultimated Dack, because the plus and minus abilities on him are so phenomenal. I really want to focus on this -2, because stealing an artifact in Commander for just 3 mana is incredible. Because of the tempo shift. I mean, we are a format of ramp and soul rings, and being able to steal one of those to move yourself up 2 more mana and set your opponent back 2 more mana, that is a huge play. And Dack Fayden facilitates those big gameplays. Not to mention, if Dack Fayden hits the battlefield and there aren't any artifacts that we want to steal, then we can just tick up. Filtering through our deck is very strong, and so just being able to draw 2 and discard 2 to really sculpt our hand in Commander is excellent. And in the late game, if Dack Fayden comes down and really we don't have the cards to properly filter with, we can still steal something else relevant. There are big artifacts that I have really enjoyed stealing. In fact, the card that I've stolen most recently that has been, oh, chef's kiss, has been Golos Tireless Pilgrim. My opponent's commander, they just want to activate it over and over again, and I'm like, no thank you. I can't even activate that little scout over there, but I will take it for myself just so that you don't have access to this crazy activated ability. Dack Fayden comes down early, impacts the board, and is my pick for the number 1 planeswalker in Commander. Of course, all of you are going to have your own things to say. What do you think is the best planeswalker in our format? How did I mess up this list? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to thank all of the people that support me. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching this video. I hope each and every one of you elks someone's commander, steals a soul ring, and Ugins everyone's lands into the Shadow Realm. I'll see you all really soon. Bye.